Okay, in this video we're going to be checking out the Real ACC R11. This is a little micro toy drone. It's a folding drone. It comes ready to fly here with your transmitter, battery, charger, and in this case it comes also with a set of goggles. And these are the Eachine VR06 goggles, which I did a review a while back. It does come just without the goggles as well, with just the controller and the battery and the drone. If you want to get that version, it's a little bit cheaper. This was kind of interesting about this is those are just regular FPV 5.8 gigahertz goggles. There's a regular 5.8 gigahertz receiver in that one, and this will transmit 5.8 gigahertz FPV to any basically any kind of receiver, monitor, set of goggles, whatever that you can then fly this around using this little tiny camera that's on here. Supposedly it's a 720p camera and transmits video back via 5.8 gigahertz FPV, but it does not have a micro SD card to record the video on board, so you'll need some sort of a goggle with a DVR to capture the reception from this. Now, I have looked at the video output from this. It's a very narrow field of view, so we'll have to see how feasible this is in terms of flying it around FPV. I'll give it a try, but yeah, this is probably not really something for long-term, I guess, use. I would say this is probably like a starter kit for someone who just wants to try it out, see how they feel about FPV. But I'm a little bit skeptical about this camera here, and we'll see how it flies as well. It does come with like a proprietary battery. It comes in this case here. It's a one-cell 380 milliamp hour battery. It just slides into the back like here, and you have a little plug and a little USB charger that will charge up the battery. It takes about an hour to charge it up. You get about like 5 minutes of flight time. Here's your controller. It's a mode 2, no altitude hold. You have regular throttle here. Power button there. These buttons here don't do anything. Rate button here. Flip button here. Trims here. This has no function. There's one key return. There's a calibration button here. Light control. And that button on top is this button here on the top is headless mode. I probably won't be testing out headless mode or one key return. Those don't usually work too well. Calibration button is pretty easy. You just will leave the drone on the ground on a flat surface, hit this button, and then that will produce what's level. And then this lighting button, I'm not sure what that does exactly. I don't see any LEDs on here. It'll turn on and off, so probably not that particularly useful. You can see here, it's the drone's super tiny. Fits in the palm of my hand. It's got really tiny propellers on here, and the arms just fold out like so. They don't really save a whole lot of space. I mean, it's not that much bigger with the arms extended, and the props are super tiny. Got a little power button on here, turns it on and off, and there's a button on the bottom that goes through your FPV channels, and you press it. It would, I think, it incrementally goes through one of all the 40 channels that are out there. It defaults to channel 5865, I believe it was said in the manual, which is what I'm just going to be using. So to basically tune into the channel here, let's go ahead. I'll demonstrate that real quick. Just plug in the battery. We'll turn this on. I got some flashing lights, and then let's go ahead and turn on the goggles here to get the video. You have a power button here on the side. I'm going to press and hold that until the screen turns on. And not sure if the camera will be able to focus in there. To find your channel, you're going to hit the plus and minus button to go up and down. It doesn't look like the... Yeah, okay, so you can see okay, now it's focusing. So you can see it's on channel 5925. So I'm going to hit the down button. I'm going to go down. I'll cycle through the different channels on this band until I hit 5865. Or you can also hit the scan button. So it looks like this might take a while. So the alternative is to hit the scan button here and let it actually try and find the channel that it's broadcasting from. Okay, so I found a pretty close channel, 5860. So you can see we have an image from the camera. It's a very narrow field of view. You can see right up next to the my solder spool. The image is not too bad looking. Let's see what that looks like in flight. There's my soldering station. So it looks like it's a fairly decent camera in terms of resolution, at least looking through the goggle image, but we'll have to see how this looks like when I'm flying it around. But that's how you would tune it in to the channel you want on the goggles. I think that's probably the easiest way. Just use the scan button, and then in terms of the rest of the functions here, yeah, let's see where you got the charging port over here, and it does include your head strap. So you have some little strap that goes here on both sides and up top. That's this thing right here. You got a little USB cable for charging, and it does come with a little manual that explains how to use the goggles, but it's fairly straightforward. You just have a, see there on the screen, your voltage on the lower left, and then your frequency on the lower right, and then your, I think that the upper right there, I think is the signal strength. So, and you can see the image of the FPV feed. It's a pretty basic goggle. Okay, so I powered on the transmitter to bind. So you actually plug it in, you get a flashing light here. It means it's waiting for a signal from the transmitter. You just turn on your transmitter, up and down 2 beeps, and all the lights will turn solid. Then you know that you're now bound, and you should be able to spin up the props like that. So we'll go ahead at this point, we'll go take it out, do a little line of sight, and I'll see how this flies, line of sight, and then I'll show you a little bit of the FPV feed and DVR recording from a different set of goggles. Okay, start off in the low rate here. A little bit of a breeze, but it's not too bad. It's not that fast in the low rate. Looks pretty stable. All right, this is the second rate. Yeah, the yaw has much more authority. There's some funnels. Oh, we got some wind now. I think I've attracted a hummingbird. All right, so this is the third rate. Much faster. All right, it's probably want a little bit bigger area if you're going to go to the third rate. Oh, I got a couple hummingbirds. They don't like this. Pretty nice looking funnels. It's really stable. We'll go back to the first rate here. Let's do some flips. Yeah, so these are just automatic flips. It does pop up the altitude. Pretty normal stuff there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll pop on the goggles and we'll fly this FPV before the battery dies. Okay, so I can already see a problem here. The camera angle is looking right at the ground, so this is going to be kind of difficult. And the wind's picking up. Whoops. Oh yeah, it's very hard. So the arm's just folded in the crash here. It seems to be okay, but yeah, this is going to be really hard to fly. Okay, so I'll just keep recording the FPV feed. I'll just fly this line of sight to get a little bit more video footage. Okay, yeah, so I think it's going to do it for this flight of the Real ACC R11. Line of sight seems to fly pretty good, seems stable, but I think flying this FPV is going to be pretty challenging. I wouldn't recommend this for beginners as an FPV starter kit. Maybe as a very inexpensive experience, you could try it out, but I wouldn't bother because the lens is so narrow and it's pointing downwards, so it's really pretty much impossible to fly, even for an expert like myself.